Denny Patterson, Instinct Magazine. Hi, Aaron. How are you today?
Danny, it's so good to see you. How are you, man?
I'm well, thank you. So tell me, how excited are you for the Spiderwick Chronicles to finally premiere on the Roku channel?
Oh my God, I'm so excited.
I heard this is like a
uh,
long time coming.
Woo! It is the longest time coming. My anniversary of working on Spider Chronicles was last week. It's been 4 years that I've been working on this
Wow.
project.
Wow.
Um, which which nowadays like feels fast.
Yeah.
Um, it's like, what, 4 years? That's it to do 8 episodes?
Yep. Yep.
Pshaw.
I know.
Um, that's what's that?
No, but some of your best known work includes like the Netflix series Daybreak and NBC series Heroes. What was your ultimate vision for the Spiderwick Chronicles?
Um, Ultimately, I wanted a series that made people believe in magic again.
Mhm.
I it might be a little treacly to say that, but I think the world is so messy. There's so
I would
many
agree.
issues.
Yes.
That I think it's not naive to say I think we need to believe in magic and hope again.
Hmm.
And I think that, you know, with the mess comes a lot of cynicism.
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, there's nothing less cynical than going into a park and looking for fairy tracks and trying to and wanting to believe and going on a fairy, like, let's go on a fairy hunt. Let's see what we can find. Let's
Yeah.
try to find the magic that is all around us, that's hiding in plain sight, but we can, like, move these little things aside and let's see what we can find. And that
Yeah.
was one of the guiding principles of not, that was certainly the guiding principle of the whole show, but affected every design aspect of the show. We
Hmm.
really wanted these creatures to be believable, to be that we could see that they could exist in this world
Yeah.
and how they could be hidden in plain sight. And so that was really, we just want to make sure, like, we want people to believe. We want
Yeah.
people to believe in magic once again.
For sure, definitely. And you worked closely with Holly and Tony to ensure that their original message came across as well, right?
Completely. They
Mhm.
were, I just adore them so much. I love working with them. But they were, it was really important to me. Like, they are the creators of the series.
Yeah.
They are the keepers of the lore. They know the story and these characters better than anybody.
Yeah.
And it's really important to me that, look, this is an adaptation. This is going to be different than the movie. This is going to be different than the books. It has to be because we're telling a different type of story. It's a different style of storytelling. We're going to
Yeah.
have to make changes. But I want to make sure that A, they're comfortable with the changes and that, and that we're not stepping too far in either direction.
Yeah.
And, they were certainly, we had many lively discussion about certain things because there are things that were really important to them of keeping the essence of Spiderwick. And I would, and I think, look, the DNA of all these characters are exactly what they are in the books.
For sure.
They are the same exact characters going on the same exact journey. And that was, integral to what we were doing. But,
Mhm.
and I don't know how much of the series you've watched yet, or you've
I've
been able
I've
to.
seen quite a few of it so far. Yeah.
Fantastic. So one of the things that made them extremely nervous is we take one of the characters to New York for an episode.
Hmm.
And they were very anxious about that because, all their books are set in towns that are
Yeah.
abutting nature, that are these really idyllic towns, whether it's in Florida, which we have a little Easter egg about, the books 6, 7, and 8
Hmm.
that we reference, or in Michigan or in New England, they have a real connection to nature. So going into a metropolis made them very anxious.
Yeah.
And so we had a lot of discussion. First of all, I wanted to make sure that because we're telling a story of a divorced family, that we actually go to the father on his turf where he
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah.
Not only that, but not all of us live against nature. Not all of us can go into our backyards and have it be an amazing forest.
Yeah.
And I
Exactly.
want people to whether they live in a big city or whether they live in the country or whether they live in a small town, that magic is pervasive. That just because you live in a big city doesn't mean that there's not magic waiting to be found. And
Exactly.
so and they were all on board with that. And it was about, well, how do we make this still Spiderwicky?
So Spiderwick, yes.
So that the magic is of that it feels like a Spiderwick story being in
Mm,
this new place.
yeah,
And I think we accomplished that. And but it was like this takes debate. This takes having conversations so that they can perceive that their story is still intact
mhm,
and we can tell a new story for these characters.
for sure. And how would you say the Spiderwick Chronicles will appeal to queer audiences?
Well, I think it'll appeal to queer audiences because we have some very different type of stories, and different type of queer stories as well, that are presenting themselves. I don't think it's we're not hitting um, we're not hitting the nail on the head with any of the
Yeah, yeah.
characters,
Hmm.
which was the intention, especially this season. There's many things to explore in seasons to come,
Okay.
is what I wanted to set up. But I think that, ah, you know, we want to tell stories that were just, and it's become a bad word, but like it's inclusive.
Hmm.
When Tony and Holly first talked to me about the books, they called it an American fairy tale.
Yeah.
And that resonated with me so deeply of, so much of fantasy and fairy tales are, dominated by, little white kids who live underneath staircases who get invitations to go to magical academies.
Hmm.
And that's the bulk of, what we know in fantasy lore.
Yeah.
And so this was an opportunity to make, a story, a fairy tale, feel like an American fairy tale. What does that mean?
Hmm.
And I think that means that, well, these characters have to be characters that we know and that look like Americans that are relevant to right now. So that's why we did a mixed race family.
Yeah.
That's why, we added Emiko and Hatcher and Bree, that we
Hmm.
wanted a whole ensemble that felt like the world that we're actually living in.
For
And
sure.
so, and also understand that this is look, this is a teenage story.
Hmm.
And so a lot of teenagers don't know what their gender is yet. Oh, they're
Yeah.
figuring it out. They don't know what their sexuality is yet. They're figuring it out. And we want
Hmm.
to be there to figure it out with them.
Awesome. Fantastic. Aaron, thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Denny, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye bye. Thank you.